obedience to that law is fundamental for the growth of Nigeria. And every person, irrespective of what position you hold, must and shall obey to that law.
Fair enough. Speaking about laws, let's talk about the EFCC Act, Section 2 to be precise. Following the appointment of Mr. Ola Olukoyede by President Bola Tinubu as the new EFCC chairman, there's been some controversy saying that that section of the Act has not been fulfilled. Let me get your thoughts on this. If you can break it down, really, what does that mean?
Now, I will speak on the generality of the qualification to be occupied that position of EFCC chairman. Yes, I have read so many postulations, so many opinions, so many gestures being postulated by by Nigerians and everybody, either on social media or on televisions like this. Now, for the sake of emphasis, the appointment of the chairman of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is guided by what we call the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Act. And for the sake of profundity, Section 2, Sub 1, Paragraph 2 of that section, of that Act, that EFCC Act, clearly states that for you to be appointed as a chairman of the commission, that is the EFCC chairman, first, you must not be below the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police. You must be, first you must be coming from either a serving or a retired member, staff or member of any security agency, be it police, DSS, Army, Navy, any of the security agency, including FRS. Now, you must be either a member, a staff or a retired staff of any of the security agencies. Second one, you must not be below the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police or its equivalent in either of those forces. So in either of those forces, if you're coming from the Army, you look at the equivalent of Commissioner of Police, Assistant Commissioner of Police.
Assuming you are still in service, or even if
you are retired.
Okay.
If you're retired as an Assistant Commissioner of Police or retired as a Commissioner of Police, you can be appointed. But if you're retired as a below Assistant Commissioner of Police, either in the Army, the equivalent of that rank in the Army, or the equivalent of it in the Navy or in the DSS, so you look at the equivalent, or even in road safety, or even in any of the security agencies. But you must not be below the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police. Now the question is, did this particular man attain that rank? Is he up to an Assistant Commissioner of Police or above an Assistant? If he is below an Assistant Commissioner of Police, then he is not qualified to be an EFCC chairman by virtue of Section 2, Sub 1, Paragraph 2.
So, what if he wasn't in any of these military?
And if he is not in any of those, he is not qualified. And not just that you are in any of those, you must be up to a 15 years in experience. You must have 15 years experience.
Well, what about the fact that he was the secretary of the commission, and in the past he was chief of staff to? And all that, does that count? Was he up to the level of an Assistant Commissioner of Police? Well, how can this be determined? If at the end of the day he was in situations where he wasn't given direct ranks,
is he a member? Was he a staff? Was he a member of any of the security agencies? As of today, the laws has not been changed. The FCC Act has not been changed, and until it is changed, if he is not a member, a serving or a retired member of any of the security agencies, and his level is not up to an Assistant Commissioner of Police, and he does not have a cumulative experience of 15 years, then he is not qualified. Simple and short. It's that position. If he does not have any of this, he should better not accept. Because now, the next question will be, what options are available? This will be, if he is not up to that level, it means our law has been broken. Our laws has been trampled upon. What remedies are available? Any person in Nigeria can take up an action in either of the federal high courts.
A civil one?
Yes, a civil one. Any person, be a lawyer, a journalist, or anybody, can take up an action to interpret that section 2 sub 1 paragraph 2 of the Economic and Financial Crimes Act. So if the court will have to interpret and that such appointment, if truly he does not qualify in any of those qualifications so provided. Now, the most interesting thing is, within the ambits of those provisions, it is very clear. You must be either a serving member or a retired member of any of the security agencies. You do not need to be a police officer, but you must need to be a serving or a retired member of any of the security agencies. We know how recruitment of any of these security agencies are done. That you were a cleaner in any of the security agencies, a contracted staff of any of the security agencies does not automatically make you a member or a staff of those agencies. You were a casual member. Now, if you do not go, if you have gone through the recruitment of those things and you've gotten to that rank or its equivalent in wherever you are, then you are qualified. But if you have not gotten up to that rank, you are not qualified to hold office as the FCC chairman. Simple and short.
Well, that's fair enough. That's joins to the deluge of arguments we have seen so far as regarding that appointment. But maybe we'll move a little bit away from appointment now, because there's still quite a lot ongoing in that regard. But let's talk now about the IMF. The IMF has actually suggested to Nigeria that the Naira is under pressure and that Nigeria is free to seek loans to stabilize the currency if it considers a good option. I'd like to get your thoughts on this.
Now, many countries have criticized the position of IMF, and so many countries say IMF is more devilish to countries than it is useful. Now, IMF, what it does is to advance loans to you, asks for you to devalue your currencies, and also navigate your market. Have controls over how your economy is being run and how it operates. Now, why we are where we are today is because we've taken the decisions from IMF and all these international financial organizations, not forgetting that we are an indigenous economy. We have a peculiar problem. The problem of the world is not the problem of Nigeria. Every country has its own peculiarity in its economic problem and its diversity. So it is something that we Nigerians, we do not. At first I've said in this program that Nigeria has all it takes to not borrow loan. Nigeria has all it takes to not even accept all these financial advices.
Even as at where we are.
As at where we are today, if we decide to turn things around, as at where we are today.
We're already in massive debt.
Exactly. We can choose not to borrow more. We can start paying for the ones we've taken. Now, the only reason they are making these advices to you is because you intend to take more loan. They want to perforate your economy. They want to downgrade your currency. They want to make nonsense out of your currency and make your country a means upon which they conduct their international transactions. Now, that is not what Nigeria should be. Nigeria should be a sovereign entity. Nigeria should be able to take care of its own economic problems. Nigeria should be, like I always say, we have more than enough in this country to even be giving loans to other persons. We have more than... Nigeria is one of the countries that are blessed with the highest bounds of minerals. But what do we do with it? Nothing. As of today, we have more than 30 different minerals. There are billions of dollars in the market. But what do we do? Instead, we beg. We beg for those things. When we have them at our doorsteps. Imagine that you have things within your household and you go to your neighbors to borrow food. You have your household stocked with food. The only thing that holds you is that you're lazy to cook your own meal. When you go to your neighbor to serve your plate, so your neighbor gives you food. We have minerals, we have gold, we have whatever, zincs, anywhere, crude oil. What I will advocate is let us go back to sub-regional, how we used to do it in the sub-regional government, where every region is, remove that exclusivity of minerals from the constitution. Let every state be able to process its own mineral. At the moment, before the exclusivity of minerals to the federal government that is in our constitution is making it difficult for states and regions to be able to partake and, you know, take care of their own mineral. But if we are able, if states are allowed to invest and be able to take care of their own mineral, we will be able to elevate ourselves from and not get this kind of advice that we are getting.
Sounds like you are describing restructuring there. Is that it?
If it is, that is what it is called. Because in Nigeria we find it difficult calling dog a name. We just find it difficult calling dog a name. So if it is what it is called, but we need to make use of our own mineral. It is not by having those deposits. We need to start making use of those minerals. We need to start making use of the gold in Zamfara, the oil in the Niger Delta, the salt in Ebonyi, the meats in Ebonyi, even the coal in Enugu, even the gold in Ogun State. Every state of Nigeria has a deposit of solid mineral. Those can be harnessed. We don't, as of today, we are not even harnessing our oil. We are regarded as one of the major oil producing countries. Just one of the many minerals. We have over 30. And as of today, we cannot even harness one fully. Imagine if we harness one fully, the oil, and we produce and we refine in this country and we export, we get our forex back. Just imagine if we harness half of those minerals that we have that are deposited in Nigeria. What will now become of Nigeria? Now Nigeria will be like Taiwan. Nigeria will be like Singapore. If you read the history of Singapore before now, before Lee Kuan Yew came in, they were worse than Nigeria. But look at Singapore today. Look at Singapore today. Singapore is doing everything right that Nigeria is not doing. But look at us. We have what every other country dreams to have, but we have nothing to show for it.
Well, you know, there's a scathing one there, and a thought-provoking one, really. We have Mr. Dele Alake, who's now in charge of the Ministry of Solid Minerals. We'll be taking a look at what that could yield in terms of some of the things you've said here. But then, you know, still speaking on the IMF, you know, saying that some of the policies have been on point and that we should borrow. How do you see this administration going? You know, there are already talks, we can't say it's confirmed anyway, about subsidy being quietly reinstated, you know, just to maintain the price, not to take it down, to maintain the price so it doesn't go higher. But we'll find veracity of that. But that being said, is there improvement in the handling of these issues, especially with the CBN lifting some sort of ban on 43 items on import that we had in the past? That was lifted fairly recently, last week, I believe. So these things, do you think we're starting to see a slow reversal to the state that it should be? I say this because some of the reversals we've seen have actually been policies by the previous administration, which at the time was even praised by some members of that government. And now that you know, it has gone a complete 180, as they say, we are also seeing similar people also celebrating it and saying this is the way forward. So that's my question to you now. With the IMF giving this sort of kudos, so to speak, or in a manner of speaking, do you think we're on the path now, economically speaking? No,
we are not on the path. If anybody tells you we are on the path, that means that person is misleading. Now, we've not even had the policies we've been doing trial. We've not had a steady policy.
You mean this cycle or
both the cycle and the past? Now this cycle, these ones come try this and it doesn't work, the next one comes, they change gear. That is what we've been doing. That has not been any defined. And the annoying part is that there is none of this administration that has brought out a framework upon which these things will work. Now, somebody will just come on air and announce, I hereby lift. The next person will come and say, I hereby restrict. There is no policy framework as to the workability of these things. There is no plan. There is no policy at all that is geared towards the actualization. What do they intend to achieve? Those are the questions that you intend to ask. What do you intend to achieve? Is it a short term or a long term? What are the purposes? What plans are you making? These are things that have not really actually been made. Because if the countries, the only reason we are having all this conflict is because we are a receiving country. We are not a producing country. The only reason we can go back to where we are coming from is, or even be better, is if we start to produce, and that production will need to have a huge investment in the private sector. There are a lot of things, a lot of areas for production to thrive in this country. But when you look at things that factors that enable production, we are lacking them. We don't even have electricity. We are overtaxed. We do not have even the policies are not even right. You start any business today, the next day you either dealing with the locals or you're dealing with the government. It does not. The policies do not encourage productivity. If we have an economy that is producing and exporting things, at the moment we are importing. There is nothing Nigeria export. We even import the tiniest of things, the toothpick. And as of today, Nigeria spent over $18 million on toothpick importation every year. Now, is it that we do not have wood to produce even the tiniest of things? You look at other countries like South Africa export wine. Countries like South Africa export even apples that we eat here. Is it that we do not have things that we can export and then bring in forex? That is why the world and the IMF, the world organization, tend to, play us and want the economy of Nigeria to be rejigged according to their plan, not according to the native and organic needs of Nigeria. So it is time we need to start planning according to Nigeria and according to the needs of Nigerians. By that, we will need to invest into production. We need to start producing and exporting.
All right, fair enough. Now, let's quickly talk on the issue of the certification saga. It started with the PDP candidate accusing the president. Now, seeing counter accusations by the president's team. I'd like to just get your thoughts on that before we move over to another matter. As a lawyer, I've spoken to a number of lawyers on this matter, and some have had varying views on how this could go in court, particularly for the Supreme Court case being filed, particularly by the PDP candidates, if it would include or be able or allowed to include these things. So I'd like to get your thoughts generally, legally speaking. What do you make of all of this?
Now, at the moment, the matter is in court, so I would not say much. So the only thing I would say is, at the moment, the People's Democratic Party and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has filed an additional evidence to the court. Now, if by adventure, the Supreme Court, it is for the Supreme Court to look at their motions, their application. If the Supreme Court should allow that fresh evidence, then they will hear the fresh evidence. But if they do not, then I think we will have to proceed with his appeal.
So is it just a 50-50 chance they could allow?
There are it has two options. It is a 50-50 chances in terms, because it's an application you're making. It is at the discretion of the Supreme Court. That particular application is at the discretion of the Supreme Court to admit it or not. But then, if it is admitted, that will count in evidence. He is to bring in that evidence. But if it is rejected, he has already filed 35 grounds of appeal and has argued his 35 grounds of appeal. Let us not forget that he had his case at the Court of Appeal. So that case has not died. It is still ongoing at the Supreme Court. That particular one is ongoing.
So what case are you referring to?
He had election petition cases that he raised 35 grounds of appeal from.
What are you talking about?
The Alhaji Atiku Abubakar.
You're not referring to the presidential election petition?
That is what I'm referring to.
Okay.
Now he has that case in particular, of which he has filed appeals on that one. Now, this other addition, which is to bring in new evidence, is secondary. So, wherein this one fails, he will proceed and argue his appeal. That is just it. At the moment, he has a 50-50 chances of either bringing in the evidence or to proceed with his appeals.
All right, just a moment. While we prepare, a report there on forced subsidy removal aftermath and how businesses are coping in Abuja. Let me just ask one final question on this issue. The reverse has been accused now. The president's team has decided not to take this line down, and they've counter-accused Atiku Abubakar of also changing his name or submitting fake certificates. Is there also a path for them, or at the end of the day, is this all just a case of political, settling of scores, and that would not have any value in the legal field?
In law we say he who alleges must prove. It is for you to bring proof. If any of them feels there are things, there are informations or things that are lacking or missing or were added arbitrarily into the record of any other, they can bring it forth. This is the moment. But if not, you describing these things and then making them open to media debate and media exposition goes to no issue. Bring them to court. It is only things that go to court that will decide, the court will decide if this will form the basis of their decision or not. But it is not for things flying all over the media. He who alleges must prove, and the only way to prove is not on the media. It is in court. Bring forward those things to court and let the court look at it and decide and make their decision.
Thank you so much, Barrister Kelechi. We're not quite done. I just want you to react to a couple of trending, on the social media, but that will be after this report. Let's take a look at this report where I took a trip to Kubwa area of Abuja to get a feel of how businesses are coping with the subsidy removal in terms of energy costs and generally cost to doing businesses. Take a look at that when we return. We'll delve into the trending focus segment of the Polity. Stay with us.
On the 29th of May 2023, a newly inaugurated President Bola Tinubu uttered 4 words which changed the lives of many Nigerians drastically.
First subsidy is gone.
The statement caused immediate ripple effects with panic buying and subsequent hike in fuel prices that never reversed and have steadily risen higher. Transportation took the first hit, with commercial drivers and cyclists increasing their fares by as high as 50%.
For 1 liter is 160 something. If I buy like 1,600, they go reach like money tonight. When I gather like 7,000, I go remove 1,500, buy another fuel. That is money tonight. Why now? Every day money tonight, I go waste my fuel like 5,000. 5,000. If I gather 7,000, what you game no go day? If I go pay my madam, I dey pay balance. If I buy fuel 4,500, calculator that is 6,000. If I gather like 7,000, now only 1,000 remain. 1,000, they don't go do anything. I have almost 8 children. I have 2 wives. I'm a Nigerian man now. Why the thing come hard like this? Before person they eat, is problem. Person when they get money, when they get anything, if you want to go meet them, tell us say, "Oga, I have problem." They go tell you say, "Hey, yeah."
All right, now let's delve into trending focus. This is still the Polity reaching you live from Abuja. I'm still in the studio here with Barrister Kelechi Anwo. He's a legal practitioner. We'll take a look first at the trending issue of the National Assembly on social media. We have a couple of tweets here. Let me take the first one from Real Kevin 07. He says the National Assembly lacks empathy. They don't know how to read the room. You procure 2023 SUVs in a budget cycle where the government is struggling to secure a $3 billion loan. Both the Senate President and Speaker are a disgrace to Nigerians, according to Mr. Real Kelvin there. Let's take a look at another tweet by the same handle. It says the central banks of the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia has given the Central Bank of Egypt $10 billion in intra-central bank loan to stabilize the Egyptian pounds amidst volatile global supply chains. What message is the National Assembly sending to creditors that at the same time your National Assembly is procuring vehicles? Well, that's also from Mr. Kelvin. Well, on a lighter note here, on I believe meant to be a funnier approach to National Assembly trending, we have Mr. Osanene, who is a regular guest on the program here. He says, Misha, if I enter National Assembly, one of the first bills I go push now the commercialization of cannabis and associated derivatives bill 2027. Set up standards and regulatory commission in Ondo State for the culture. Well, that is the yearnings of Mr. Osanene there, and that is his own concern with the National Assembly today. And finally, we have from Fine Plan Kalu Ajawan. He says, if the National Assembly spent those billions to order made in Nigeria cars from Innoson and Nord, it would be stimulative. It would create jobs and boost the GDP of Nigeria. The National Assembly of Nigeria is a first-line waste of taxpayer funds. Well, let me get your thoughts here on this issue where the National Assembly is alleged to have spent 100 million naira each on SUVs, 2023 models. What's your take on it?
I agree with all the persons who have tweeted. National Assembly, with whatever they are thinking and whatever they've thought about in this procurement, is the most insensitive set of people. You know, there's this thing they tell Nigerians to please tighten up.
Cut your coats.
But you look at the National Assembly buying vehicles of 100 million naira. There are villages that 100 million we set, in fact, we take care of a lot of things. Now, a National Assembly member drives 100 million naira car and he thinks he wants to be safe in an insecure country. You know, when we get to this level of insensitivity, then I begin to question, are we really still humans? Or everybody is now very brutish? And, you know, we're getting to the times where Thomas Hobbes describes men to be very brutish. You know, we are getting to a point where people are very insensitive, most especially the leaders who are elected into public offices. At this point where the currency and the finances of Nigeria is bleeding like this, you want to ride a car of 100 million. You know, I have always had this proposition that government should not be buying cars for elected officials. Rather, what government ought to do is to negotiate with just like they do in other places, to negotiate with a lease company. You understand? Let there be a private lease company that the said political office holder goes in to collect cars and pays with his salary. It is not the duty of a government to buy you a car. It should not be. This is the only country it is happening.
But don't we want our elected officials to have the enabling environment.
The enabling environment is 100 million naira.
Safe environment.
And the enabling environment is 100 million naira. Some of them they've never earned 100 million in their entire life. The first time they are seeing 100 million is National Assembly. And they want to drive the 100 million naira car.
Well, to be fair, some of them have said that they've spent even, multiple.
They have said.
In terms of getting that position. I'm talking about electionary process.
Because they did not come through the right process. If they actually came through the right process, if they actually went through the people and the people voted for them, all you needed to do was to present yourself to the people and the people will bring you. You did not need to rob a bank to be in the National Assembly. Now, are you now saying that after robbing a bank, Nigerians are to pay for your robbery of the bank? Now, left for me, the government should not be buying vehicles for public officials. But there should be a lease company where those public officials, those cars are already available in the lease, should be available in the lease companies. They go there, private lease companies, not government. The only affiliation is that the government gives them loan to purchase those vehicles. Trust me, those vehicles, the moment those officials start buying those vehicles from their money, it will not be up to that amount.
Well, let's talk about, the advice, like you mentioned initially. We've seen some people, either part of the government or speaking in favor of the government, tell Nigerians, you know what, cut your coat according to your size. Some tell them, must you eat rice? To speak, referring to the period when the prices of bags of rice skyrocketed. There was that admonition, I remember, that you don't have to eat rice every day. There's always this sort of, and also in terms of schools, I believe we've also seen statements like, must they go to university?
You see?
So these are ways that Nigerians are being told to
now, these are persons who went to school, probably when school was still free, when government paid for everything. And they're asking you, people who enjoyed scholarship, some of them, from their primary school to their university level, they've depended on government. And these are the same persons telling Nigerians, must they eat rice? Must they go to school?
But on the flip side, would it be, I'm just trying to, get some, if you can help me play the devil's advocate here, is there any argument against perhaps these government officials, assuming the government is going to pay for these cars, is there any argument against them getting 2011, 2010 model of cars?
None. I've always advocated that people who indulge in luxuries should not be the responsibility of government. Even if government is to buy you a car, there is nothing. People still buy 2015 model cars and they drive them. People still buy even 2010 model cars and they still drive them. Why must anybody buy 2023 model car? This year's model car. Now, take for instance, we have car manufacturing companies in Nigeria. I'm sure we have Innocent, we have Nods, we have so many other ones. Now, I am sure there is no car that is manufactured in Nigeria that is more than 50 million. As of today, I have not seen that car that is manufactured in Nigeria that is more than 50 million in terms of private car. So, what now happened to local content? We have these companies who are producing cars, who are supposed to be the first point call of this local content. Are they not supposed to be government officials? How do you improve the productivity of your country? It is only when you have been able to use this thing, you encourage those producing within your country, that other countries will want to participate and buy from your country and increase your forex. These things are not rocket science. They are there. But there is no country that wants a wasteful country like Nigeria. The only thing we do is to waste. 2023 model car at the cost of 100 million, just a car. Ask me how much will be the apartment, how much will be their wardrobe, how much will even be for their wives and children. How many security guards are they going with?
What would be your advice to some of these lawmakers? Because it is believed that people always wanted a difference from the norm. They say PDP and APC are the same. But now we know we have quite a number of non-APC and PDP members there. We have NNPP, we have SDP, we have Labour Party. And when these things happen, we don't see any sort of arguments. We just see all of them accepting. According to a report released earlier today, apparently the female lawmakers were the first to receive or have received their cars. Do you think it is advisable for these other ones, if they disagree, to speak out? Or is it a case where once you become part of them, just keep quiet and get your share?
It should not be so. It should not be so. They were elected to represent Nigerians. Not just Nigerians, but majority of Nigerians who are indigent. And at the end of the day, you appropriate 100 million for a car for yourself. How do you face your constituents? How do you tell them to tighten up? When you yourself, you drive a 100 million naira car. Now, it is very shameful that we are, now that we have a mixed house of political parties, it is expected that at least at the moment we have up to 5 political parties, different political parties. We have APGA, we have Labour Party, we have APC, we have PDP, we have NNPP, and we have APP even. We have SDP. Yes, we have SDP in the same house. Now, it is very appalling that up to these numbers, none could express worries over the waste and the kind of expenditure at the time when Nigerians are being told to buckle up. It goes to show that human beings are naturally selfish. Human beings, irrespective of where you, the only difference is where you're standing. The moment you flip to the other side, you forget totally where you're coming from. Most of these persons, like I said before, had no 100 million naira car. Most of them, some of them have not earned 100 million at a go, and now they want to buy a car, be in a car of 100 million. Tomorrow, if anybody throws stones at you or blocks you, certainly you are infuriating the mobs. You are bringing mobs to yourself, because by the time you go back to your constituency, certainly this is their common this is their common money, their common benefits that you personally is enjoying. You ride a 100 million naira car and you want to come to them, certainly they will throw stones at you, and they should be ready to receive those stones.
Well, let's speak now. We're not encouraging violence against
anyone. No, not at all. Nobody is encouraging.
Yeah, but it does make sense that those in government, especially in such dire times, should be considerate and empathetic to the suffering of the masses. But that being said, let's take a look at the final, issue on Trending Focus today. Here's a video of the NIPOST post office in Abuja, where the officers or the staff are protesting the appointment of the new NIPOST CEO. Let's take a look at that video now, and then I will take some quick comments on the issue.
Institution that is moribund, institution that is dying off, and you look at the institution itself, the institution, it clearly shows from the outside, even without saying, that the institution needs help. It needs ideas. At the point when the world is engaging in logistics, logistic companies are thriving around the world. We have many of them. Even some of them even come to Nigeria here and thrive. We have foreign logistic companies in Nigeria here, and they are thriving. We have the local ones that are even thriving. And look at our national logistic company. It's dying off. It cannot even boast of sending letters or even receiving letters. These are, in fact, it should be the highest company because it cuts across all states. There is none of those companies that has the reach that this company has, this NIPOS has. It should be the highest thriving logistic company organization, but look at what it has been reduced to. Because one, lack of policy implementation, lack of ideas, viable ideas, lack of consequence for actions that are like this. With the reach of this NIPOS being in almost all local government, because almost all 774 local government have NIPOS in them. I remember when I was growing up, we used to go and post letters. We still have those old NIPOS buildings in the local government. And in the states, there is no, even the international ones like DHL, our local ones, even here, don't have that reach. Imagine we have the right idea that can push this. This will even be generating funds for the government. But look at it, they only receive salary. If you ask this person who is protesting, what have you done? Give us a policy report. Give us a policy report, a 6 months policy report, what you've done. Let's not go over to 2 years or even 5 years. Give us a report of what you've done in the last 6 months. Nothing. The only thing he's done is to go to the bank and receive his salary. Nothing.
But do you think there's a level of miscommunication here after the announcement by Mr. Ajuri, Chief Ajuri Ngilani?
Do anybody owe them anything?
But there was counter, news. Let me not call it news anyway. Press release, or so to speak, that the current CEO was reinstated. Do you think this, is an issue of the way the presidency's spokesperson have, fumbled once or twice now, and now, their words is in doubt?
That adds to it. But however, in any which way, this should not have happened. No matter who is being elected or appointed. Even if you that is sitting here, if you are appointed to go there, you will go there and serve diligently. So it does not matter who is appointed. But the point is, a public office is in continuum. Somebody will come, somebody will go. Soldier go, soldier come, barrack remains. That's the popular saying in Nigeria. In Nigerian public institution. The soldier will go, soldier will come. The barrack will still remain. The most important thing is that the ideas are, the persons that are coming are expected to bring in ideas. It should not even bother anybody who is coming. It should not bother the staff who is coming.
So what demeanor do you think the new CEO should have when coming to that location now, going in? Should she be coming with the idea of, I'm going to put you in your place?
It is not
a case of trying to appeal to them.
It is not his business to put anybody into their place, but anybody who brings up this kind of thing should be sanctioned. Should be put into disciplinary measure. Now, take for instance, you in this station now, and then tomorrow morning you hear that a new program manager has been appointed or head of operations has been appointed. Will staff start protesting? The only thing is for you to do your part. This is where you are grounded at. Tomorrow I might come, I might not see you here. Will anybody start protesting? Or you are elevated to the management of the station. Will anybody start protesting that you ought to be here? No. It should be a continuous something. It should be a continuum. The next person coming will have to do something. Bring in ideas. It does not matter who is there. What matters is that the ideas that are brought into such government institutions function and function appropriately.
Thank you very much. Well said, Barrister Kelechi. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming. All right, that's how we round up the program today. Do join us every weekday. The Polity reaches you live from Abuja. Tomorrow I'll be here once again, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. See you when we come once again. I'm Adino Barry. Bye for now.